Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless official 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Erin Hayley, I'm really excited to see how it develops with reference to Claire and Holden sparks. When Claire first arrived in Genoa City on Young and Restless, she fell in love with Kyle Abbott and immediately found a family in the Newmans. She has gained some allies and an adversary in Audra Charles over time. Hayley Erin, who plays Claire, exclaims to Soap Opera Digest, "I love that Tessa and Mariah are good friends because Cameron Grimes, Mariah, is one of my best friends in real life. It has been a great pleasure for me to be able to play that." Additionally, Kate Fairbanks, Tessa, is incredibly pleasant and a pleasure to work with. Something novel. Since Holden originally introduced himself to Claire at the GCAC bar and introduced her to Vespers, the two have also been romantically involved. However, it's unclear where that stands on the enemy-to-lover spectrum. Erin reflects, "This friendship with Holden is something entirely different. And I believe that Claire is confused because she trusts him right away for some reason because he helped her a lot while Kyle wasn't there and she was feeling very alone and going through a difficult time. And Holden was the only one who supported her. Thus, that has somewhat united them." Claire has continued to view Holden as a helpful friend as she has grown to know him more, but his relationship with Kane Ashby and his Aristotle Demar persona indicates that there is more to the man than she has yet to fully comprehend. The actress concedes, "Now there's more to it because it seems like he is a bit of a questionable character." However, Claire feels quite justified in her friendship with him and is extremely assertive in her ability to read people. Therefore, it will be interesting to observe if she is correct or if the discomfort she was experiencing has caused her to become somewhat blind. Holden and Claire's relationship is further complicated by the fact that, despite Claire putting him firmly in the friend zone, he still uses his charms and flirts with her whenever he can. And this might be Holden's opportunity to intervene because she recently lost faith in Kyle because he withheld secrets from her. Erin remarks, "I have loved their scenes together since the first time we were getting the Vespers at the GCAC. When he would ask her questions, she would almost be snippy with him. It was like revealing a different side of her, one that is gregarious, vivacious, and, not naive, but rather hopeful, with regard to the Abbotts and the Newmans. You get to witness a more abrasive side of her when you introduce this other character. Claire has completely changed since being released from the shackles of her brainwashing by Aunt Jordan, who trained her to lie, plot, and manipulate from birth. According to her, sometimes she's almost making up for it by being extra forgiving or being kind of light-hearted or positive, almost toxic positivity. Furthermore, there were no expectations regarding Holden. She was therefore able to talk to him directly right away. In my opinion, she has been somewhat, if not more, herself around him. It's fascinating. I can't wait to watch how it progresses when Hayley Erin, who embodies the complex, vulnerable, yet fiercely evolving character of Claire Grace on the Young and the Restless, sat down with Soap Opera Digest to reflect on the twists and turns of Claire's journey. Her words carried both excitement and foreshadowing. "I'm really excited to see how it develops." That statement, simple on the surface, holds incredible weight when you look at Claire's story arc since she first arrived in Genoa City, desperate to find her place, her family, and a sense of belonging that had always been stripped from her through the manipulations of Aunt Jordan. From the very beginning, Claire's entry into the Abbott and Newman worlds was dramatic and emotionally charged. She fell quickly for Kyle Abbott, whose complicated romantic history and fractured trust with Summer Newman made him vulnerable to Claire's fresh perspective and warmth. For a young woman who had been brainwashed her whole life, Kyle represented not just a romance but a chance at stability, at belonging, at experiencing love without the shadows of manipulation. And in finding her way into the Newman circle, she also found family in Victor, Nikki, and the rest of the clan who slowly, cautiously began to accept her despite her troubled past. Of course, nothing in Genoa City comes without baggage, and Audra Charles immediately saw Claire as competition, not just romantically but socially, a rival who had both charm and innocence, two qualities Audra had learned long ago could disarm and destabilize the power structures in town. Erin Hayley's portrayal made it clear from day one that Claire was not going to be written off as a simple ingenue. She was layered, self-aware, and despite her naivety, incredibly perceptive. That's why when Hayley gushed about how much fun it has been to explore Claire's relationships, especially with her on-screen friends like Mariah Copeland, Cameron Grimes, and Tessa Porter, Kate Fairbanks. Fans couldn't help but draw the lines between real life and real life. I love that Tessa and Mariah are good friends because Cameron is one of my best friends in real life, Erin admitted, revealing how natural the chemistry feels in those friendships on screen. That sense of groundedness is what makes Claire resonate so deeply. She's flawed, she's hopeful, and she's still searching for who she really is. But then came Holden Sparks, a character whose very name hints at fire, danger, and passion, and whose introduction at the GCAC bar, where he offered Claire a Vespa and struck up a conversation, sparked a storyline that has left fans guessing whether this is an enemy-to-lover trope, a friendship destined to fracture, or a potential romance waiting to explode. Erin herself explained that this connection feels something entirely different because Holden stepped into Claire's world at a time when Kyle was absent, leaving her to feel alone and betrayed. With her history of manipulation, Claire could have easily retreated into self-doubt or paranoia, but Holden's easy presence and willingness to simply listen gave her something rare, support without expectation. Erin reflected, I believe that Claire is confused because she trusts him right away for some reason because he helped her a lot while Kyle wasn't there, and Holden was the only one who supported her. Thus, that has somewhat united them. It's no wonder viewers are split. Some seeing Holden as a dangerous distraction while others root for him as the one who may finally show Claire what unconditional loyalty feels like. Still, Holden is no simple white knight. His mysterious ties to Cain Ashby and the Aristotle Demar persona suggest layers of deception and questionable morality that Claire has yet to fully unravel. Erin candidly admitted, now there's more to it because it seems like he is a bit of a questionable character. And that's the beauty of this dynamic. Claire, for all her earnest optimism, believes fiercely in her ability to read people. But can she? Or is she so desperate for connection, so eager to prove she's moved past her trauma, that she's turning a blind eye to the red flags? The tension between Holden's charm and Claire's intuition has created a fascinating gray area. Audiences can't decide whether to scream at Claire to run or to cheer her on for daring to take a risk on something new. What complicates matters even more is Holden's refusal to stay in the friend zone Claire initially placed him in. Though she insists on seeing him as a confidant, he constantly teases, flirts, and pushes the boundaries of their connection. And with Kyle's betrayal fresh in her mind, his secrecy and dishonesty eroding the trust they built, Holden might just slip through the cracks of her defenses at exactly the right moment. Erin admitted her joy in playing those early GCAC bar scenes, where Holden's probing questions brought out a snippy, almost flirtatious edge in Claire. It was like revealing a different side of her, gregarious, vivacious. You get to witness a more abrasive side of her when you introduce this other character. That spark, that banter, is precisely what fans crave. A departure from the darker heaviness of Claire's indoctrination storyline and a glimpse into who she could be if she allowed herself to truly live. It's impossible to overstate how far Claire has come since her days of captivity under Aunt Jordan. Once trained to lie, manipulate, and scheme, Claire's very personality was engineered for destruction. Now free of those shackles, she often overcompensates, leaning into forgiveness and positivity, sometimes veering into what Erin cleverly called toxic positivity. It's as though Claire believes she has to be overly kind and forgiving to prove she's not the villain Aunt Jordan raised her to be. But with Holden, those walls came down instantly. There were no expectations, no family history, no baggage, just a man and a woman connecting in the moment. Erin observed. She was therefore able to talk to him directly right away. In my opinion, she has been somewhat, if not more, herself around him. That authenticity, that raw vulnerability, makes their connection all the more dangerous and irresistible. As viewers, we stand at a crossroads with Claire and Holden. Is this friendship destined to be her undoing? A carefully laid trap by a man whose connections to Cain and Aristotle spell disaster? Or is Holden truly the wildcard who could show Claire a path forward beyond Kyle, beyond the Newmans, beyond the lingering ghosts of her brainwashed childhood? Erin Hayley's words, I can't wait to watch how it progresses, echo not just her own excitement as an actress but the suspense felt by every fan watching at home. Because in soap storytelling, relationships are rarely what they seem, and sparks, especially the kind Holden embodies, can either ignite a passionate romance or burn everything to the ground. And yet, that is the thrill. Claire Grace, once a broken pawn in Aunt Jordan's schemes, now finds herself with choices, agency, and the possibility of love on her own terms. Whether she ends up back in Kyle's arms, falling into Holden's, or carving her own path entirely, Erin Hayley has given her depth, heart, and humanity. Watching Claire navigate these dynamics, her budding friendships with Mariah and Tessa, her rivalries with Audra, her fractured trust with Kyle, and her dangerously intriguing connection with Holden, reminds us why The Young and the Restless remains the crown jewel of daytime drama. And if Erin's excitement is any indication, fans are only at the beginning of a story that will test Claire's resilience, her instincts, and ultimately her heart. When Claire Grace first entered The Young and the Restless canvas, few could have imagined the transformation she would undergo in such a short time. Once introduced as a pawn in Aunt Jordan's twisted revenge plot, Claire was engineered to destroy Victor Newman and his family. Raised under a lifetime of manipulation, gaslighting, and control, she was a weapon cloaked in innocence. Yet once the truth of her past emerged, audiences saw the vulnerable young woman beneath, the one desperate for love, stability, and identity. The Newmans, notoriously protective of their own, shocked viewers by embracing her. Victor's calculated mercy, Nikki's maternal compassion, and even Nick's cautious trust built a foundation Claire could cling to. And in doing so, the writers gave fans one of the most compelling redemption arcs in years. Still, redemption is fragile. Claire has had to prove herself constantly, not only to the Newmans but to Genoa City as a whole. People like Audra Charles see her as an opportunist, a manipulator still lurking beneath a kind smile. Audra's rivalry with Claire continues to intensify because Audra thrives on power plays while Claire represents sincerity and fresh chances, qualities that threaten Audra's carefully crafted image. Erin Hayley captures this tension perfectly, balancing Claire's genuine desire to do good with the lingering edge of a woman who has spent her entire life surviving lies. That balance is what keeps fans hooked. Claire isn't just another soap ingenue, she's a survivor learning how to trust. And with trust comes vulnerability, something Holden Sparks is poised to exploit or nurture, depending on where his arc leads. Of course, Claire's earliest romantic involvement was with Kyle Abbott, whose messy entanglements with Summer Newman left him emotionally unmoored. Claire provided him with understanding and patience, two things he desperately needed as he navigated single fatherhood and Newman-Abbott family drama. Their bond blossomed quickly, leading some fans to believe they were destined to become Genoa City's next young power couple. But Kyle's flaw has always been his inability to fully open himself. He is prone to secrecy, to shielding the truth even when transparency would serve him better. When he withheld information from Claire, believing he was protecting her, it shattered the fragile trust they had built. For a woman still grappling with the trauma of being lied to and manipulated by Aunt Jordan, this betrayal cut deeply. Suddenly, Claire found herself questioning not only Kyle's loyalty but her own judgment. Was she doomed to fall for men who deceived her? Could she ever truly read people correctly? This vulnerability created a space for someone new, someone unexpected, to step in. And that's where Holden Sparks entered the picture. From the moment Holden introduced himself to Claire at the GCAC bar, his presence was electric. He wasn't afraid to tease her, push her buttons, or flirt shamelessly despite her insistence that they were just friends. And yet, Holden also displayed an uncanny ability to meet Claire exactly where she was, offering support without judgment, companionship without demands. In soap terms, this made him irresistible. Erin Hayley admitted she adored filming those early scenes. When he would ask her questions, she would almost be snippy with him. It was like revealing a different side of her, one that is gregarious, vivacious, and hopeful. Holden's introduction allowed audiences to see Claire laugh, spar, and banter in a way she hadn't before. For a character whose story was rooted in trauma and redemption, this lighter, flirtier side was refreshing. But as with any new Genoa City resident, Holden isn't without his shadows. His connection to Kane Ashby and the mysterious Aristotle Demar persona implies duplicity, ambition, and secrets yet to be revealed. Fans immediately sensed that Holden's intentions might not be as pure as his easy smile suggested. Still, Claire's instinct to trust him, despite the warning signs, makes for compelling television. Is Holden a villain in disguise? Or is he the misunderstood rogue who will ultimately prove his loyalty to Claire when it matters most? Enemy to lover? Or friend to betrayer? Soap audiences are drawn to dynamics that teeter on the edge of romance and danger, and Claire and Holden embody this perfectly. Their connection is laced with ambiguity. On one hand, Claire insists Holden is simply a friend, someone she values for his support during a lonely time. On the other hand, Holden's constant flirtation and refusal to stay in the friend zone keep the tension alive. With Kyle's betrayal still fresh in Claire's heart, it's no wonder she's susceptible to Holden's attention. Her desire for stability wars with her yearning to take risks. Erin herself noted how much she loves playing those moments of hesitation and trust. I think Claire is confused because she trusts him right away for some reason, and that has somewhat united them. That confusion is precisely what makes the pairing so delicious. Will Holden become her savior, or will he pull the rug out from under her just as she learns to believe in herself again? The enemy-to-lover trope looms large here, but Y&R could also be setting up a devastating betrayal that tests Claire's resilience more than ever. One of the most fascinating aspects of Claire's arc has been her overcorrection since escaping Aunt Jordan's control. Once taught to manipulate and deceive, she now leans into forgiveness and optimism, sometimes excessively. Erin Hayley described this as almost toxic positivity. Claire tries so hard to be light-hearted and kind that she risks ignoring her own instincts. This is what makes her connection with Holden so precarious. Because she felt no expectations with him, she let her guard down immediately. Unlike with the Newmans, where she must constantly prove herself, or with Kyle, where romance carried emotional weight, Holden offered her a clean slate. Around him, she's arguably more herself than with anyone else. That kind of raw authenticity is intoxicating, but it's also dangerous if she's placing her trust in the wrong person. While Claire navigates her tangled emotions with Kyle and Holden, Audra Charles continues to lurk in the background, ready to pounce. Audra thrives on chaos and competition, and Claire's rise in Genoa City has made her a target. Whether it's business maneuvering or romantic rivalries, Audra never misses an opportunity to cut Claire down. If Holden truly harbors questionable motives, Audra could easily exploit the situation. Imagine the fireworks if Audra exposes Holden's secrets to Claire, or worse, if she aligns herself with Holden to manipulate Claire for her own gain. The triangle potential here is massive: Kyle, Holden, and Claire at the emotional center, with Audra pulling strings from the sidelines. What makes all of this resonate so strongly is Erin Hayley's thoughtful approach to the character. She doesn't just play Claire as a victim or a heroine, she infuses her with contradictions, doubts, and flashes of resilience. Speaking about her friendship scenes with Tessa and Mariah, Erin explained how rewarding it has been to build those genuine connections on screen because they mirror her real-life friendships. This authenticity shines through and grounds Claire in reality, even as her storylines veer into soap opera extremes. When discussing Holden, Erin's words are telling. This friendship with Holden is something entirely different. I can't wait to watch how it progresses. That sense of genuine excitement suggests that whatever direction the writers take, romantic, platonic, or adversarial, there will be juicy material for Erin to sink her teeth into. And if her past performances are any indication, she will deliver nuance, heart, and emotional resonance at every turn. What comes next? Looking ahead, fans can expect several key developments in Claire's storyline. Kyle vs. Holden showdown. Kyle, realizing he's losing Claire, may fight to win her back, leading to tension-filled confrontations with Holden. Audra's interference. Never one to stay out of drama, Audra could weaponize Holden's secrets, either exposing him to Claire or manipulating him for her own advantage. Holden's true identity. His ties to Cain Ashby and Aristotle Dumas suggest hidden agendas that could unravel everything Claire believes about him. Claire's self-discovery. Perhaps the most important arc will be Claire herself learning to trust her instincts, balancing her optimism with caution, and proving she's more than the product of Aunt Jordan's manipulation. Whatever happens, one thing is certain: Erin Hayley's portrayal has elevated Claire into a character worth rooting for, fearing for, and endlessly speculating about. At its core, the Claire and Holden storyline is about risk. Can Claire risk trusting again after betrayal? Can she risk opening her heart to someone whose motives remain unclear? And can audiences risk rooting for a couple who might implode in spectacular fashion? Erin Hayley's enthusiasm is contagious, and her quote, "I'm really excited to see how it develops," captures exactly how fans feel. We are excited, nervous, and on the edge of our seats waiting to see whether Holden Sparks becomes Claire's great love or her greatest mistake. And that, in true soap fashion, is what makes this storyline one of the most compelling on The Young and the Restless today.